I'd like now to introduce Eileen Kuruckchi, the President of the WA School Psychologists Association, a professional organisation with over 300 school psychologist members across both the government and non-government WA school sectors. Eileen has worked as a school psychologist in Western Australia and Victorian government schools for over 30 years. Currently, she's the lead school psychologist for the WA Department of Education in the North Metro Education region. She has a particular interest in promoting whole school initiatives to reduce bullying, promote positive peer culture and positive school climate. Please welcome Eileen Kuruckchi.
I just love that video. Oops. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about this evening, very quickly I think, is basically what schools can do. Now we know a lot of the facts. What can schools do? What can school psychologists do? And what can parents do? So how should a school proceed on a journey to reduce bullying and promote student wellbeing? So really, one of the most important things that we need to know is that the research is telling us very clearly that the way forward is by using a whole school approach. And that the evidence is saying that it's lots of multi-component whole school elements that are going to bring about a change and reduce bullying and promote wellbeing in a school, rather than individual one-off standalone strategies like just doing classroom curriculum by itself, or just improving the school environment, or just modifying your policies. So it's the sum of lots of small steps together that will bring about a change, kind of creates a tipping point or a threshold for change. And we want behaviour change that's going to stick and not blow away in the wind when the principal leaves or the person who's been championing the change leaves. So, you know, there's lots of initiatives in schools that sort of disappear over time. We want this one to stay. So a school needs to establish a strong foundation for change if we're going to really promote programs that reduce bullying. And it's like when you build a house, you need a strong foundation. So where can schools begin? Well, the first step really is getting ready. And if we're talking about changing what's going on in a school, we're talking about managing that change. So we need to get buy-in for that change. So we need everybody on the same page, everybody pulling together. And the first step, and this sounds really obvious, is that we need to understand that bullying is a serious issue. We need to really wave the flag that this is something that's really, really important, that bullying causes harm and that bullying occurs everywhere. And what we know it does is it has a negative impact on learning, and it has a negative impact on student wellbeing. Core things that schools are trying to achieve. So bullying will undermine the effectiveness and the success of what we're trying to do in schools. Secondly, we need to recognise the need that we need to address bullying in our schools. So first place to start, well, a place to start is to survey your school community, your students, your staff, your teachers. It's like doing a health check, you know, checking your blood sugar and checking your blood pressure and so on. Don't wait for the bad symptoms to kick in before you start looking at your health. Go in and check your data and get your facts about where do we stand, how are we travelling. We need to then look at our vision and ask, what is our vision? What do we want for our students? What do we want for our staff? What do we want for our families? What does our school stand for? What are we representing in our school? And then we have that vision really clear and hold that up, and we line that up with the strategies and processes we're going to follow. And then we need to do something again that sounds really obvious, and that is to make a commitment to reduce bullying. That we actually stand on the line and we really stand strong on that. A commitment is a position you take. It's a mental position that you step into this decision that you're going to move forward on that. And we want to get that from the majority of people in the school community. And then the next step, number 5, is we want to prioritise promoting positive peer culture. Now, schools have lots of competing demands on them. Schools are being asked to do more and more and be responsible for more and more things. So there are lots of things jockeying for those resources in schools. But we want to make reducing bullying a priority that we keep and that we really stand by. So we really need to be really clear that that's something we're really going to prioritise, because it impacts so many elements and domains in a school. And then it's really important that we select an evidence-based strategy. There are lots of bright, shiny, new, things, trendy programs and packages that come through your email and come in your mailbox and so on. We've got to choose evidence-based strategies. We don't have a lot of time, we don't have a lot of resources, so what we do use needs to be something that's going to work, and that's what the evidence is going to tell us. And then lastly, we communicate for buy-in. That means that we try and, continuing the buy-in, we share and analyse the data, and we encourage reflection of practices. What have we been trying? What's been working? What are we not getting bang for our buck with? And what do we really need to target? So that's another strategy for gaining support. This is the Friendly Schools website, the Friendly Schools Plus program. Now, this is a whole school approach, and it's an evidence-based program that was launched 2 years ago, and we're very lucky to have the developer of the Friendly Schools program here, which is of course Donna Cross and her team. This is the most outstanding evidence-based program to reduce bullying that I've ever seen. So I've been working in schools developing and implementing strategies to address bullying since the mid-90s, when really hardly anyone ever talked about it. It wasn't really the in thing at all. Friendly Schools Plus is, I think, absolutely fabulous. And we've been implementing it in a number of schools around various regions. It is now a commercial package. You can go to this website and find out more information about the program. But it provides an approach that schools can implement to develop effective social skill building and bullying prevention strategies. So, schools are very complex organisations, and what we know is that of all the elements that are operating in a school, the research is telling us that these 6 areas are the ones that we need to target if we want to reduce bullying. And so you'll see there's building capacity, there's supportive school culture, proactive policies and practices, key understandings and competencies, protective physical environment, and school family community partnerships. So the building capacity is about making sure that the school is ready, that the school has the resources it needs and the commitment to move forward, as we just mentioned. The positive school culture is that you've got positive attitudes and respect and values and staff wellbeing and participation, relationships and so on. Your proactive policies and practices, things like you've got positive behaviour management, you have early intervention, you have targeted strategies, there's clarity and shared understandings about the policies and the way you're going to respond to bullying and so on in your schools. Key understandings and competencies, it's making sure that everyone understands what bullying is, how you respond to it, how you can get help for it, what you can do about it, and so on. So that's around the professional learning that needs to be done. Protective physical environments, making sure that the school is attractive, welcoming, it's safe, that supervision is done well, and so on. And the school family community partnerships, that's making sure that parents feel included, that they're actively encouraged to participate, parents engage, and there's a joint shared element to the way parents work with schools. So those 6 areas are the components of a whole school approach. They need to be coordinated together, and improvement in one area will knock into another. So it's like a domino effect. So you get like a contagion of growth across the school. So it's coordinated and integrated. It's not just sort of little isolated patches operating. It all comes together in a holistic way. Donna was speaking a lot about the social skills building, the capacity building, and a key element of this program is the curriculum element around building the social emotional learning capacity of students. Now, I don't have very long, so I won't go into this too much. Many of you are educators, you'll know about social emotional learning, but the 5 key elements of there are self-awareness and self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and social decision making. So when young people, or adults of course, this is not just about that young people need these skills and capacities. But we know that when young people have these skills and capacities, they are more available for learning. They're able to concentrate better, they're able to engage better, you have better learning outcomes. We also know it helps them to be able to recognise and control their emotions and regulate their emotions. They can build positive relationships with their peers, they can show consideration for others, they can make thoughtful and sensible choices, they can solve problems and deal with difficult or tricky situations. Now, everybody wants this for their children. Parents want children and teachers want young people who are able to do these things. So these are very, very important skills for educators and for life, for everybody. Very quickly now, this is the 5-stage implementation model for the Friendly Schools Plus program. So it's like a guiding map that takes the school on a journey through these 5 stages. And I'll just illustrate, for example, there's stage 1 there, which is the getting ready stage. So getting ready is about establishing a coordinating team in the school, getting some champions and distributed leaders together, then doing some PD and reading and learning a little bit more about the Friendly Schools Plus initiative, doing some research, talking to some other schools that are doing it, assessing the readiness of your school. I already mentioned that before, is making sure that the school staff and the leadership are committed to proceeding, that it fits in with your vision and your priorities, and that you've got staff on board and the parents are also on board with this initiative. The fourth step is doing some PD, raising whole staff awareness and understanding, stuff that Donna was talking about, what bullying is, what it's not, why we need to address it. Making sure our vision lines up with our evidence and building capacity for implementation. Then it goes into the next step, which is doing surveys and exploring your needs, policies and practices, how are we travelling, preparing for improvement, implementing our plan, and then reviewing sustaining actions and outcomes. So I love this map, this model. It's very engaging, and the program comes with excellent resources, toolkits, and so on. So you can investigate that yourself. I might just skip through what school psychologists can do and go to what parents can do, because there are lots more parents in the room than school psychologists, although I did spot 3 school psychologists here tonight. So how can parents help? Now this sounds really obvious, but teaching kindness and the importance of not harming others. And that's been really clear with your young people, that you expect them to not join in when mean or nasty things are happening. So very obvious, but we teach behaviour, as we've talked about that tonight. And that also means things like not providing an audience when mean stuff's going on, not laughing or smiling if it's happening and sending approval, and not saying mean things to someone online if you wouldn't say it to their face. And the second way is to teach them to be a caring bystander, and that's what Neve and Sam talked about tonight. And that might, and also in that beautiful video, might mean offering help, letting them sit next to you, letting them, if they're by themselves, letting them be with you, texting them afterwards, after something mean's happened, saying, well, I thought that was really awful, are you okay? And young people will say it is the most incredible relief if someone says to me later, I felt bad for you, are you all right? Because it just says what happened wasn't okay. And sometimes that's all you need to do. So teaching your young people that these things are the way to be kind, very simple but very, very powerful. These tips are on the website that I'm going to show you in just a moment. And you can download those. There's some wonderful little scripts and videos as well. What can you do if you think your child is being bullied? Again, it's talking with your child and asking them if there's something happening at school or online, and reassure them, this is really important, that if something is happening to them or that's distressing them, that you will stay calm and that you'll promise you're not going to rush in and try and fix it, which is probably the worst, most horrifying aspect for a young person, that their parents are going to come stampeding in and try and fix the situation, or horror of horrors, ban the internet because that's where they've been getting bullied. So just to remain calm and listen and make sure that they know their concerns are being taken seriously. And then avoid taking direct action, because this can escalate. You know, if a parent talks to the child that they think is bullying their child, or goes and talks to those parents, it can escalate in unpredictable ways and can be quite damaging for everyone, including your child. And to make really clear to your child that retaliation isn't okay. even though on TV and so on it's really always promoted as the gutsy way to go. To stay calm and work with the school to deal with the situation, to take an optimistic and a solution-focused and collaborative partnership type of attitude and way forward. And then, heaven forbid, what to do if your child is actually taking part in bullying another child. So that's something most parents would think was a pretty confronting thing to hear. So, of course, find out as much information about what is going on, and stay calm with your child. Don't be angry and use wounding language with your child, because this is a perfect opportunity for a window for learning. This is a great way to teach appropriate behaviour and for positive change. So there's a little script, like, you could start off with some surprise and disappointment, and then move into how might that other child be feeling, and how would you feel if this was happening to you, and use that as one of those little teachable moments, and let them know that you expect them to stop doing it. So rather than crush them, you use that as in a constructive behaviour change way. And then when you're working with a school, it's really important to support your child but avoid being overly defensive with the school, and to take, again, an optimistic and collaborative approach. So I went through that quite fast, but there's, as I said, on this website, Safe Schools Hub, you can Google that, but www.safeschoolshub.edu.au, it has fantastic resources for schools, for parents, and lots of resources. So I'll leave you with that, and over to our next speakers. Thank you.